Chapter 10, Introduction to the Human Body, Part 4. Another major category of tissue is epithelial tissue. It's made of cells that line inner and outer body surfaces, such as the skin and the inner surface of the digestive tract. Epithelial tissue that lines inner body surfaces and body openings is called mucous membrane. This type of epithelial tissue produces mucus, a slippery, proteinaceous substance that coats mucous membranes and traps pathogens, particles, and debris. Epithelial tissue protects the body and its internal organs, secretes substances such as hormones, mucus, and sweat, and absorbs substances such as nutrients. Epithelial tissue classifications. Most epithelial tissue is described with two names. The first name describes the number of cell layers present, and the second describes the shape of the cells. One layer of epithelial cells is called simple, and more than one layer is called stratified. There are three basic shapes: squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. Squamous cells are thin and flat. Cuboidal cells have a shape of a cube, and columnar cells have the shape of a pillar. For example, simple squamous epithelial tissue describes a single layer of cells that are thin and flat. Here are all our different combinations: simple stratified, squamous, simple stratified cuboidal, simple columnar, and then there's this really interesting tissue called pseudostratified, in which the cells are staggered so that it appears that it might be stratified, but it really is because the cells are bulging at different ends so that the nuclei look like they're lined up in layers. And then the transitional epithelial, that is kind of a stretchy form. Locations and functions of epithelial. Simple squamous epithelium is in the sacs of the lungs and in the kidneys, where the exchange of nutrients and gas is essential. Simple cuboidal epithelium is in the glands and their ducts and kidneys. And in the kidneys, the main function is secretion. Simple columnar epithelium lines the gastrointestinal tract. Its main function is absorption and secretion. Pseudostratified epithelium is a simple tissue. In other words, it's one layer with the appearance of stratification. It is in the respiratory tract and may contain cilia to move mucus that traps dust and microbes. And here we go again with these. So if you look at the squamous, you can see that the cells are flat, so it's going to actually be very good at absorbing materials. And cuboidal is going to be very good at excreting materials. And simple columnar looks like it might be pretty good at protecting. And then here are some more locations and functions. Stratified squamous is located where protective covering is needed, such as the skin. Stratified cuboidal forms sweat glands and secretes sweat components. Stratified columnar forms other sweat glands, and transitional epithelium lines the bladder, urethra, and ureters. It allows urinary organs to expand and stretch. Another main category of tissue is muscle tissue. It's made of cells that have the unique ability to contract. Skeletal muscles are striated or striped in appearance because of their internal structure. Skeletal muscles are attached to bones, and when they pull on the bones, they enable the body to move. Skeletal muscles are under voluntary control. Another type of muscle tissue is smooth muscle tissue. Smooth muscles are non-striated muscles. They are found in the walls of blood vessels and in the reproductive, gastrointestinal, and respiratory tracts. Smooth muscles are not under voluntary control. Cardiac muscles are a third type, which are striated and found only in the heart. Their contractions cause the heart to beat. Cardiac muscles are not under voluntary control. Here we go with the three types. Skeletal muscle. Now we're going to have to zoom in, or you can look at your textbook for some details here, but you'll be able to see that this skeletal muscle on the top is stripy in appearance, which has to do with the different kinds of protein fibers that are acting to allow the muscle units to contract and relax. So it's all about protein shortening and lengthening with the muscle contraction and relaxation. And then the smooth muscle is more diverse directionally, you could say. It kind of stretches sideways and top to bottom, not just pulling in one direction. And then the cardiac muscle also is kind of like a basket. You can see maybe it looks kind of like a basket, which makes sense that it would be able to fill and then empty. Nervous tissue. Another category, nervous tissue, is made up of neurons and other types of cells, generally called glial cells. Neurons are composed of a cell body and extensions called the axon and dendrites. The cell body contains the nucleus, and the extensions make electrical connections with other tissues and other neurons. The glial cells play supporting roles, including nourishing and protecting the neurons. Nervous tissue makes up the central nervous system, which is mainly the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which is the network of nerves that runs throughout the rest of the body.